Number 10. Carousel. When Billy Bigelow and Julie Jordan fall for each other, their romance costs both of them their line of work. Over time, the difficulties of married life settle in, and the struggles with unemployment and domestic violence become real. Things only get more complicated when Julie finds out she's pregnant, and Billy decides to get involved with a robbery to provide for his child.
But my little girl gets hungry every night, and she comes home to me.
When the plan goes wrong and Billy dies, he's given a second chance in the afterlife. If he can help his now teenaged daughter, he'll be allowed into heaven. This Rodgers and Hammerstein musical may explore the darker side of life and love, but it still carries a message of hope through Billy's redemption.
I loved you.
Number 9. Next to Normal. With many rock musicals, the intensity of the genre can communicate overwhelmingly emotional storylines. Next to Normal follows Diana as she copes with bipolar disorder while mourning her son Gabe, who passed away 16 years ago and appears in her hallucinations.
Feels like it's about someone else.
Please hear me calling.
Make it about you.
Catch me, I'm falling for love.
The story follows the effects of grief on Diana and her family, and even tackles aspects of her psychological treatment, including medication and therapy.
Everything is balanced here and on an even keel. Everything is perfect. Nothing's real.
From the show's debut and throughout its Broadway run, Alice Ripley delivered a layered and passionate performance as Diana, and she even won a Tony Award for Best Performance by a Leading Actress in a Musical.
You don't know. I know you don't know. You say that you're hurting. It sure doesn't show. You don't know.
Number 8. Rent. In loving memory of his friends who contracted HIV, Jonathan Larson created this musical depicting a group of young, struggling artists who tried to survive in New York's East Village during the 1980s and 90s. Based on Puccini's La Boheme, the characters live with addiction, the stigma of being HIV positive, the threat of eviction, and death in their community. When Angel dies of complications from AIDS, she is mourned by her friends, which encourages them to cherish their time together. In the face of this disease, legendary songs like Seasons of Love remind us to find value in life through measures of love.
525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year? How about love?
Number 7. Fun Home. Developed from Alison Bechdel's graphic memoir, this Tony winner follows her coming out journey as she explores her relationship with her father up until his death.
I know what's true, deep into what and why, but till now he's waiting there.
The musical is narrated by an older Allison, who introduces scenes of small and medium versions of herself to describe her life as a child and as a college student, respectively. Over the course of the story, her father's hidden life slowly reveals itself, and Allison discovers that he's gay at the same time that she realizes her own sexuality as a young adult.
Say something, talk to me. Say something, anything. Have the light.
The heavy themes of this musical are driven by passionate performances from actors like Sidney Lucas, who was only 10 when she debuted in the role of Small Allison.
Why am I the only one who sees you're beautiful? No, I mean handsome.
Number 6. Miss Saigon. Based on Puccini's Madame Butterfly, Miss Saigon takes place during the Vietnam War and follows the romance between Chris, an American Marine, and Kim, a teenaged Vietnamese bar girl.
So stay with me and hold me tight and dance like it's the last night.
When they're separated for 3 years, Kim continues to believe that Chris will return to Vietnam for her and their young son Tom.
I still believe the time will come when nothing keeps us apart.
With the song I'd Give My Life for You, actresses like Lea Salonga have performed Kim's fierce dedication and sacrifice for her child.
As long as you can have your chance, I swear I'll give my life for you.
However, when she finds out that Chris is already married, she realizes that she will not be brought to America and shoots herself so her son will be given a better life with his father.
And then say goodbye.
Number 5. Parade. Based on the events of a real trial, this tragic musical follows the life of Leo Frank, a young Jewish factory manager in Georgia. In the musical, he's wrongfully accused of murdering a teenage girl under his employment. His trial attracted great media attention and gave rise to anti-Semitic reactions in Georgia. Leo is found guilty, but his appeal causes his case to be reopened, eventually leading to his kidnapping and murder by an angry mob.
Suddenly loud as a water, there is no final.
Even in the face of injustice, Leo's relationship with his wife Lucille shines through this musical's tragic ending.
What kind of fool could have taken you for granted for so long? All the wasted time.
Number 4. Ragtime.
On the wheels of a dream.
Even with its deceptively cheerful title, this musical is anything but. Right at the start of the 1900s, Ragtime follows the experiences of 3 contrasting social groups: African Americans, New Eastern European immigrants, and the white suburban upper class. Despite their differences, their lives intertwine throughout the turmoil of poverty, discrimination, and other societal troubles of the early 20th century. Prominent historical figures such as Harry Houdini, Emma Goldman, and Booker T. Washington are driving forces for the narrative up until the events of World War I. In the despair and uncertainty of the turn of the century, many of the characters of Ragtime manage to keep hope and find love.
And tell them in our struggle we were not the only ones. Make them hear you.
Number 3. Spring Awakening. Inspired by a German play of the same name from 1891, this rock musical adaptation captures the frustrations of adolescent angst. In its 2006 Broadway debut, you might recognize voices from performers like Leah Michele, Jonathan Groff, and Skylar Astin in the show's original cast. Taking place in Germany during the late 1800s, a group of repressed teenagers struggle with the chaste way of life that their parents and teachers insist on.
It's the bitch of living, bitch, just the bitch, what you can, just the bitch.
While they're curious, they're also completely in the dark about the changes they're going through. Inevitably, they begin to figure things out for themselves and are confronted with death, pregnancy, and guilt. Number 2, West Side Story.
Tonight, tonight, it all began tonight. I saw you and the world went away.
When a musical is based on Romeo and Juliet, you can guess how the story will likely end. This take on a Shakespearean classic is set in the Upper West Side of mid-20th century Manhattan and sees Puerto Rican sharks face off with the white working-class Jets. On opposite sides of this gang rivalry, Tony falls in love with Maria, the younger sister of the Sharks leader. Their forbidden romance is caught up in the anger and violence between the groups, and ends when Tony is shot. Maria's pain is overwhelming when she finds him dead, and results in the end of the feud.
Somehow, someday,
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Dear Evan Hansen. Teenage outcast Evan Hansen is waving through a window.
On the outside, always looking in the way like you better be more than I've always been, 'cause I'm tapping on the glass, waiting through a window.
Cabaret. Cabaret performer Sally Bowles desperately hopes her love will last.
Everybody loves a winner, so nobody loved me. Lady peaceful, lady happy, that's what I long to be.
Hedwig and the Angry Inch. Hedwig is stuck in a wicked little town.
You know you can follow my voice through the dark turns and noise of this wicked little town.
Passion. Giorgio and Fosca find forbidden love.
but though I want to live, I now can live with what I never knew. I'm someone to be loved, and that I learned from you.
Falsettos. Whizzer faces death with dignity.
Death is not a friend, but I hope in the end he takes me in his arms and lets me hold his face. He holds me in his arms and whispers something funny.
Number 1. Les Misérables. As one of the longest-running musicals in the West End, Les Mis has been bringing audiences to tears since the 1980s. Set in the years surrounding the 1832 Paris uprising, the musical is based on Victor Hugo's 1862 novel and depicts the suffering and oppression of its characters while they continue to seek out redemption, hope, and love.
I love him, but when the night is over, he's gone. The river's just a river.
Les Mis proves that the tragedies of political revolution and injustice can be communicated in a musical form. With a powerful cast and heart-swelling songs, you can't help but be moved when you hear Eponine's On My Own or Fontine's I Dreamed a Dream.
So different from this hell I'm living, so different, no, from what it seems.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from Ms. Mojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.